What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Fairy Tale Tank Ride post-game show. The Blazers lose again today to the New Orleans Pelicans, 127-94, 33-point loss for the Blazers as we head into the final couple of days of the season. Eric should be here shortly. He just let me know about 15 minutes ago that he wasn't quite home yet, so I just told him to call me on Skype when he's ready, so he could be on in 1 minute, he could be on in 10 minutes, I don't know. But, you know, we'll have Eric here shortly, and, I don't know, I'm going to talk a little bit about this game. I'm sure he doesn't really care to, and then we'll just take your questions and whatnot. This is going to be a shorter stream, probably going to go for about, 50 minutes here, and then call it a night. We'll have another stream tomorrow night after the Blazers take on the Dallas Mavericks or Utah Jazz? Yeah, it's the Dallas Mavericks. I'm tripping. Anyway, I was just thinking the other day, this is the third to last time I'm going to be able to use these post-game graphics. If you've watched the channel for the past couple years, you know I switch things up every season. I'm going to have to retire these very, very shortly. Same thing with picks against the spread graphics. So, you know, if you enjoy these graphics, better savor these last final moments with them, because these are the last couple of streams with them. But as far as this game goes, the Blazers, I mean, they did not play as well as they've played in a couple of previous games. You have Drew Eubanks, 20 points as the Blazers' leading scorer tonight, 5 boards, 9 for 11 from the field. He had a good game. CJ Ellaby wore a shooting sleeve and started off 2 for 2 from 3. Maybe he needs to permanently wear a shooting sleeve, just like Greg Brown III needs to permanently wear goggles. Okay? There's Eric. There's the good old Skype ringtone. All right. Mike's a little better than it was. Okay, let me unmute you. Make sure I do that, and let me bring you in here. What's up, Eric?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. I've just been doing an intro and don't really know what to say about this game, so I was just about to list off stats robotically.
We got our butts kicked.
Yeah, we got our butts absolutely kicked. So, we're also gonna have to figure out what to do. I'm gonna have to get you this mic somehow. I might have to drive down to Eric's town and get him the new mic, because I think the mic's completely giving up on you. But what's going on, man? How's your night been?
Oh, not too bad. I just had my first practice as third grade soccer coach. So
yeah, you're in soccer coaching duties. Is Connor in here? Connor would be proud. Connor, I told Eric. Do you want to tell him the story about how you were forced to be coach?
Not really a story. Just it's like the last day and no one had volunteered to be the coach of my team, so they were going to disband it. So I had to step up so my son could still play and didn't have to give up on the season. So don't know what I'm doing really, but yeah. So
would you say you're the Terry Stotts of soccer coaches?
At least Terry Stotts had like a background in the sport he was coaching, I guess. But
yeah, you're gonna need to bring in Eric. Eric can be Jim Boylan. You know how Stotts consulted with Jim Boylan before last season? Mm-hmm. Connor can be Jim Boylan. He can just go and yell at all the kids or something. Anyway, I didn't watch this game. Did you watch this game? Like, let's just be honest with the chat, man.
I watched part of it and listened to some of it on the radio.
Yeah, I did not listen to this game.
I checked on the score and we were down like 30, and I was like, okay, I'm not missing anything.
Yeah, chat doubled down on the Blazers, surprisingly. The Blazers were 17.5-point underdogs, and they lose by almost double that. I should have taken the freaking Pelicans, but it's not a good picks against the spread day for me, so chat's going to pass me up, and I'm kind of upset right now about that. I'm not going to look at any scores or anything, because I have been leading for how long? 2 months now, and chat's gonna clutch up at the end, it seems like, so not looking forward to that. Anyway, you want me to just read off stats?
It was over today so far, so
yeah. Ooh, that's static. Ooh, I don't know what to. Did you try unplugging it from your laptop end?
Yeah, I've tried.
Like blowing out the USB.
I've tried different USB slots.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might have to work my way down to North Plains, Eric. I might have to try and get Uber Eats deliveries towards Portland, then out to North Plains. Because I'm planning on working all day tomorrow. If I can work all day, I literally have a mic for you that is better than... Where is it? I could bring you this one. Does this one look better than the one you have? It's a little dusty, a little dirty, but if this looks better than the one you have, I can bring you this one. And I got a cord for it.
Pretty close to the one I have, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same mic. I'm just saying, like, you said yours was falling apart. So hopefully that would be better.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and work my way down, because then we got another stream tomorrow, another post-game show. But, yeah, let's just look at the Tankathon. Let me pull that up here. It's not quite ready yet. There's nothing new. Let's just do a sim. We talked about it earlier today on Blazers Uprise Live. That's our second channel. If you haven't subscribed to that, that's where we're streaming in the off-season. And then... Eric is my uncle. Yeah, let me bring up the Tankathon here, and we'll just do a sim, and we can talk about whatever for a little bit, then we'll probably end the stream.
Are you kidding me?
What's up?
The Spurs ended up covering.
Did the Spurs cover? I mean, I don't care because chat had them.
Yeah, but I checked like 10 minutes ago, and the Timberwolves were up double digits with a few minutes left. It looked like an easy cover.
Yeah, I don't even... Same score as the Bucks game. The Bucks couldn't cover against Boston when they were missing a bunch of key guys. Yeah, so it's just disgusting. Dave for Bigs Against Spread. I don't even want to think about it at this point. Anyway. Here's the Tankathon sheet. I mean, nothing's really new. The Pelicans win. They are now a full game ahead of New York and Washington. It's looking like this is going to be the 12th pick. Their final two games are against Memphis and Golden State, so maybe games they might lose. Memphis isn't really playing for anything, though. They're not playing for anything at all, actually. Neither is Golden State. Oh, Golden State might get passed by Dallas. I didn't realize Dallas was doing so well. So Dallas could still get the 3 seed. So Golden State might be playing something for the last day of the regular season. But it's going to be unlikely that I think this New Orleans pick moves up. Do you agree with that, Eric?
Yeah.
Alrighty. So Washington, New York may be rooting for them to win, but at this point, you got San Antonio, you got New Orleans in this play-in game, and it looks like New Orleans is going to be playing that at home. I don't know who owns the tiebreaker, but San Antonio would have to win out, New Orleans would have to lose out to end up in a tiebreak situation, and I don't think that's likely. So you're looking at a 9-10 play-in game, New Orleans versus San Antonio. We will have an episode of Blazers Uprise Live after that game. That'll be on Wednesday. So no Blazers Uprise Live on Monday. We're going to be streaming on Sunday, actually, for Picks Against the Spread, and then we'll have a post-game show over on our second channel for that play-in game, because obviously we're rooting for the Spurs to take care of business against the Pelicans in that 9 versus 10 play-in game. Other than that, the Lakers pick is looking locked in at 8 for New Orleans, so they'll have a 26% chance of getting a top 4 pick that's not their own pick. And then the good news about the Pelicans pick being 12th compared to 10, right now the 10th odds are, normally they'd be at 13.7%. Right now it's 11.7 because there's a tie for 10 and 11. But being 12th, obviously the odds of getting into the top 4 are lower for New Orleans. They only have a 7% chance. So you're sitting here looking, just praying that New Orleans doesn't win both playing games, okay? If they don't win both playing games, as Blazer fans, you can be, I wouldn't say completely comfortable, because there's always that 7% chance, but you can be pretty comfortable with the Blazers ending up getting that New Orleans pick and having a draft night with 2 lottery picks.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're pretty good, and the cool thing is we have a greater percentage chance of the first overall pick than they have of any of the top 4. So
yeah,
that's really cool. And hopefully, for any of you who play poker, you play the percentages, right? And you do whatever's the best probability-wise. And unfortunately, we still could get screwed, but that would be very unlikely, hopefully. And hopefully we have luck and they don't.
Yep. Portland basically has a 55% chance of falling down to 7 or 8, and a 45% chance of staying at 6 or moving into the top 4, 37% chance of the top 4. It's unlikely that they stay at 6, because that would mean no team below them moving up, and that would mean them not moving up either, which is very unlikely. So let's just simulate the thing, Eric, and see if we have some luck on this, and if it's, a wild lottery sim, we can talk about different scenarios that could come out of it. 14 Atlanta, 13 Charlotte. Blazers keep the Pelicans pick. New York at 11, Washington 10, San Antonio 9. We had some boring lottery sims earlier today on our second channel, and it's looking like that so far, but this would be good news if this played out. It means no teams have jumped into the top 4. At 8, you got Sacramento, meaning the Lakers pick to the Pelicans jumped into the top 4. At 7, you got OKC, meaning Portland and Indiana jumped into the top 4. I'm starting to memorize who jumps into the top 4.
Yeah. Now that it's more set
Yeah,
on
yeah.
a daily basis versus moving around so much.
Yep, exactly. Orlando at 6, meaning Houston has jumped in the top... Oh, no, not Houston. Detroit has jumped in the top 4, and then Houston at 5. At 4, we have the Pelicans via the Lakers. At 3, we have Indiana. At 2, we have Detroit. And at 1, we have your Portland Trailblazers. So, 1 and 12. Every time Portland gets the number 1 overall pick, I like looking at who's at 3, because that's a potential trade-down pairing, right? The Blazers could trade down from 1 to 3 if they had even grades on Chet, on Jabari, on Paolo Banchero. They could trade down to 3 and draft one of those 3 guys. Indiana is an interesting case, Eric. They have the 17th overall pick via Cleveland, and they have the 3rd pick via Indiana. Would that be enough for you to trade down, or would you need more than that?
What pick do they have? 17?
17. They have 3 and 17.
I'd probably ask for a little bit more. I mean, I'd definitely try for more.
Is there any player on their team that would intrigue you?
Let me...
I know some people are probably going to say 3 and Miles Turner.
Yeah. I do not want that.
Because then it's like you let Nurkic walk, and it's like, what's the point? You're not coming out any better. 1 in Nurk for 3 in Miles Turner is not a good trade. I mean, maybe Chris Duarte. Indiana, in terms of trading up, though, I feel like they're going to be the team that's going to take Ivy if they're top 4, even if they're 2 or 3, because Ivy's from Indiana. He's a hometown guy, stayed in Indiana for college, went to Purdue. And him and Halliburton could be a good backcourt pairing, an intriguing backcourt pairing. So I feel like at 3, they'd be most likely to take Jaden Ivey, but still, they could end up trading up to 1.
Warren is a free agent.
Who?
Warren. TJ Warren.
Yeah. Now, if you're Portland and you know on draft night that Indiana is going to take Ivy, then you could obviously trade down to 4, which in this scenario is New Orleans. Maybe 4 and Herb Jones. And then you get 1 of Banchero, Jabari, or Chet, and you get Herb Jones along with it. I don't think New Orleans would do that, but if they fall in love with a guy at 1 and think that they have to have him, then I could see something like that. Probably asking for a little bit too much, though.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
All right, no trades. Who you taking?
What'd you say?
No trades. Who you taking?
At 1?
Yeah.
Jabari.
Oh.
Right now,
I was
Jabari.
not expecting you to say that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's very even for me. Mm-hmm. See, like, people think I would say Chet because I defend him so much, but I'm defending him against, like, ridiculous, outlandish criticism.
Yeah.
You know?
I saw you had Banchero like a week ago or so.
Yeah, that was only that particular day. The day before he was at 3, and the day after he was at 3, and now honestly he might be at 4. So I don't know.
Wow.
For Portland, I would take him over Ivy, but just for any team, if they had needs at every position, I have Ivy in the same tier as him. I don't know who I'm higher on there, but. I mean, Jabari has question marks that people don't want to admit. I know he's who you're taking if Portland's at number 1, huh?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not going to change, is it?
No, because, I mean, I wouldn't say I don't like to admit it, but, his question marks to me more so than the other 2 fit. Like, what doesn't really affect ours too much, our team that much. Whereas the other, like Banchero, for example, like if he's not a good perimeter defender, that kind of hurts our team, right? Whereas Jabari's more question marks on defense is maybe rim protection. And that's something that if Nurk is back to having a good defense around him, that he'd probably be fine on that end. So, like, I'm not as worried about that. And then his offense, like, three-point shot, obviously Chet and Jabari both have a good three-point shot, so you're good either way with them. I just think Jabari spaces the floor and can make tougher shots as of right now than the other two. So that's just what I think. But
yeah, I mean, for Chauncey's system, I feel like it's more important than definitely Stotts' system or maybe some other systems. It's more important to have a solid secondary rim protector. The more aggressive I feel like you play your center up on the pick and roll, it helps to have a better secondary rim protector in case the ball gets behind both initial defenders of that pick and roll, which it's prone to. And that's the thing is you need a guy that rotates to the rim, takes away the rim, and then on the kick out pass you got to rotate out. That's how you play that scheme effectively. But I don't know, like he has length and whatnot. It's just almost his timing feels off. Compared to a guy like Chet who times things very, very well, So that's the thing is maybe once he reads the game a little bit better on the defensive end, I feel like he should be a guy who can be a solid secondary rim protector for a power forward. But yeah, it's definitely not there yet. But it could be a situation where I have Chet number one and I would still take Jabari. I have Chet number one on my big board, but I still take Jabari number one if I'm Portland. It's that close where that could be two different answers. Because that's the thing. With two equal prospects, you start to factor in team needs and how that player would fit in your system. So, still, I'd be hard-pressed to pass on Chet just because he's that secondary rim protector and because of the length and the whole Mobley-Allen dynamic. I would be intrigued to see if we could kind of recreate how effective those two guys are defensively next to each other. Obviously, Evan Mobley's a terrific talent, and it's hard for a guy, that's a pretty lofty expectation for Chet Holmgren to live up to, but if there's anybody that can live up to it, I think it would be him, just in terms of being able to defend a bit on the perimeter, but then also be a really, really, really good rim protector. But I like Jabari's perimeter defense. I think he'll be able to guard on the perimeter pretty effectively, 3 positions, 2, 3, 4. I don't think he has the size to guard 5s yet, but I think that combined with, obviously, his shooting, the weaknesses are dude struggles to handle the ball. He'll have moments where he handles the ball well, and he improved throughout the season, like making plays for others, making reads. I feel like what he struggles with offensively, Chauncey's the perfect coach to help him develop that part of his game. So that's why I would put Jabari number one, but that's the thing. There's positives about all three of those guys. I just know if it's not Jabari, it's Chet for me. Pretty clear cut and dry right now.
Yeah, so I don't trust Cronin at all. So the jury's still out on his drafting since we haven't seen him have a draft pick yet for his own. I mean, he's been involved with draft picks in the past, but not as the sole decider on that. But I just think this is where the value of having a Chauncey Billups as your head coach comes in. Is I think within one workout and one sit down with those three players, he's going to be able to ask the right questions, get the right feel for their mindset, get the right feel for if they're going to work as hard as he's going to expect them to, if they are focused on the right things basketball-wise, or if they're kind of thinking, in terms of some other players that he hasn't really gelled with as a coach so far. So I think that's where I trust this organization to make the right pick. So I'm not going to be too hard on them. If it's one of those three, obviously, if they reach for someone at one that shouldn't be there, then that's a different story. But as long as it's one of those three, I have confidence that they'll pick the right one because of Chauncey.
Yep. So in the draft lottery scenario we had, let's assume Ivy goes 3-2 to Indiana. So basically, it's a situation where Banchero is probably still on the board at 4. Would you do 1 in Keon for 4 and Herb Jones?
That's tough. I think Jabari has a chance of making this contenders in as early as year 2.
I think they all 3 do, though.
Yeah, I just think Jabari's strengths fit in so perfectly. I would have a tough time passing up on that. I mean, if we could guarantee we had Banchero, so like it was after Indiana picked, and they did take Ivy and Banchero's still on the board, and we could get Herb and Banchero for 1, yeah, I'd probably do it. But I would be hesitant to give up on Jabari in this scenario.
Yeah. I would take Jabari 1, but I'm not as high as him in year 1 and year 2. I feel like I do agree with this fit, but I don't know, man. That's the thing with the rookies is they can seem like the flawless fit and, super talented, but they're always going to have their lumps, and it's just hard to predict how much guys are going to struggle early on.
Yeah. What my thinking is, I mean, most number 1 picks, though, like, look at Cade Cunningham this year, right? He has to basically be the man on Detroit, right? Or you look at Jalen Green, who has to do, like, so much and struggled early and stuff like that. Whereas Evan Mobley went to a good situation where he didn't necessarily have to be the best guy on the team. You had an emerging Jared Allen there, and then you also had an emerging Darius Garland, and those kind of guys made it so Mobley just came in and was himself and didn't have to do too much and just kind of played to his strengths. So if Chauncey can do that with any one of these guys, when you have Anthony Simons and you have Damian Lillard already, you have a solid center in Nurkic, hopefully we sign him. I just feel like the pressure would be off to have to kind of score 25 points a game your rookie year and do all these things. And I think that would be a really good fit for one of those 3 guys. And that's why I think Jabari would fit in perfectly, because the spacing on the floor with his shot, like you couldn't leave him, and that's going to really open up the floor for both Dame and Ant, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just think that he's good defensively on the perimeter, but I don't think he's going to be good enough, at least in year 1 and 2, to get us to where we need to be defensively. I think we could be contenders if we got him and we got the right starting small forward in the next couple of years, so that's my hope. If we had OG Anunoby and Jabari Smith as our starting forwards next year, I would say we're dark horse contenders, and the year after we are contenders. Because I would trust that lineup with Dame, Simons, OG, Jabari, and Nurkic could be good enough defensively to get us to that level. And obviously, offensively, it's going to be one of the best units in the league. So that's just kind of... I just don't know if Jabari can be... If he's just going to be one of those guys who defends really well on the perimeter, or is a guy who's like legitimately locked down. You put him up against LeBron, you put him up against Kawhi, you put him up against KD, and he's doing a really, really good job on those players. Because that's the thing. There's guys in this league that can defend well, and then there's guys that can deal with stars, if that makes sense. There's guys that can defend well on the perimeter, but they're not going to slow down Kevin Durant. It's really hard to slow down a guy like that. But then there's guys that you can throw up against him that'll make things a lot tougher on him. I don't know if I'm doing a good job explaining that. I just don't know if he's going to be at the point in year 1 or year 2 where you can trust him to just go out there and guard guys like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think he will be. I don't know necessarily year 1. That's why I said by the end of year 2. But I just feel like in Chauncey's system, where he does, to me, a masterful job of explaining things to players that want to learn. So as long as, like, if we take him number 1, I feel like Chauncey will feel like he can get that out of him. And then 2, I feel like Chauncey will continue to talk to him like every game until it's better and he figures it out. And I think he does have the lateral foot speed and the length to become an elite defender if he has that mindset. So the only question is, if he truly does want to be that, And that's always the question with being a good defender or not. You have to really have that attitude that you want to be a great defender. So that's hopefully what Chauncey could snuff out through the draft process. But if we take him, I feel pretty comfortable that Chauncey thinks he can get that out of him.
Yeah. And the thing is with Chet, I trust him more to become an elite defender simply because his tools are just better, his physical tools, his length. Like, he's one of those guys where he wouldn't even have to 100% buy in defensively to be pretty much an elite defender in my mind, simply because his instincts are really good, his length is really good, he moves, he's agile, can get to spots quickly, rotates well. Like, I think I am more confident in him being an elite defender than Jabari. Offensively, I'm more confident in Jabari. That's why those two guys are close to me. Simply because, Jabari's shot making, Chet doesn't make shots like that. Chet's not a guy who you could necessarily give the ball to and he's going to go make something happen for you. Jabari he needs to get better off the dribble, but this dude, if he got cut off on dribbles, would just turn around and shoot mid-ranges and wasn't bothered by a contest. Like, his contested shot making was elite in college. So offensively, I trust that he'll be able to figure out the ball handling, dribble, drive aspect. Whereas Chet, I am not as confident in that. Like, he can handle the ball, and if he's playing the 5, I think that separates him. But if he's playing the 4, which he will be the first couple of years at least until he adds enough strength to play the 5, it doesn't separate himself as much. That's the thing. If Chet's playing next to Nurkic and Nurkic is down low playing around the rim, the floor is not as open for him to drive, make things happen. He's being guarded by a quicker defender playing the 4 than the 5. So offensively, I like Jabari more. Defensively, I like Chet more, and I don't see that changing. That's going to be my two guys for those reasons.
Yeah, for sure. Because the main difference between Jabari and Chet is, I think Chet is eventually a center that can play power forward, like when he's his true form of whatever final form he becomes, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas Jabari is like a for sure power forward, right? And that's like our biggest need. It's been our biggest need pretty much since Aldridge left. So we need that. It's been a long time, it's 6-7 years since Aldridge left. We had that power forward that we could go to in a game and get us buckets and stuff like that. So I just think that's like game-changing type move if we're able to get him, versus Chet could be that. There were times where I saw him put the ball on the floor and he could have easily shot some of the same shots Jabari shoots, like a turnaround with a guy in his face. Like, Chet can still get those shots up over anyone.
Yeah, he can make those shots too.
Yeah, or he could dribble to the free throw line and pull up and shoot it. He just didn't. I don't know if he doesn't feel like he has to do that, or
I think he doesn't. I don't think Mark Few wanted him shooting those shots, because
right.
You have a ton of offensive talent at Gonzaga, mm-hmm. and Mark Few, like, Gonzaga runs a very disciplined offense. They don't force tough looks. They'll get out fast and shoot a pull-up 3, maybe slightly contested. They like to push the pace and set the tempo that way. But then if they don't get that, that's why you saw Chet shooting a lot of trail 3s in transition. But then if they don't get that, their half-court offense is very kind of disciplined and methodical, and they like to work the ball around a lot. And a lot of times they have a good enough group on the floor where it's not, okay, Chet is going to go one-on-one and then shoot a turnaround fadeaway from 15 feet. But he did that it was maybe the first time I'd seen him do it all season. He did that in the second round against Memphis, against Duren, and knocked it down. So that's where it's like, even me as a Gonzaga fan, I don't know how Chet's, I don't know the full extent of Chet's offensive ability, because I feel like we didn't see it because we didn't have to see it because he played at Gonzaga. I feel like if he went and played at Auburn, where Bruce Pearl will let his sixth man guard shoot 30-foot pull-ups with 20 seconds left on the shot clock, even if he's shooting, 2 for 10 on the game, right? Like Bruce Pearl's thing is giving his guys a lot of freedom offensively. I feel like if Chet went somewhere else, he might be the consensus number one guy because he would have showcased his offensive ability more. But I don't know if, like, we saw him do things in high school that was really impressive. I don't know if that translates all the way to the NBA. So that's the mystery with a guy like that, is if you get him playing under Chauncey, who, gives guys confidence and he has a little bit more free reign, in the NBA, the shot clock's shorter. Is he a guy that's going to be hitting all those tough type of shots? Like, is he a guy that's going to take things over a little bit offensively? I don't know, because we didn't see it in college, but I feel like there's some hidden scoring ability there that we didn't see in college that wasn't due to Chet not being able to do it. It was due to where he was playing.
Well, so I think right away Chet, or Jabari helps us more than Chet, just because I feel like he's already shown that ability. So I know it's there, whereas Chet is still a mystery. Even if I think he can get there, I'm just not sure.
I don't think we're going to need our four-man to take tough shots, though. You know what I mean? And I trust Jabari to be able to knock down shots, but, I mean, you look at how many open shots our forwards get playing off of Dame and CJ. I think it will be the same thing with Dame and Ant, especially with Nurkic playmaking out of that. I feel like it's I don't agree with the notion that Jabari helps us a lot more than Chet right away, because I think Chet will be the better defender his rookie year. And I think Chet will by far be a better rim protector. Jabari will be better defending on the perimeter, but I don't think Chet's going to really struggle with that. And I trust his rim protection. So I feel like Chet makes us a little better defensive team in his first year than Jabari does, and that's what we need. So I don't think that Chet will help us more than Jabari would. I don't think Jabari would help us more than Chet would day one. I think they're pretty even. If I felt that way, I would have Jabari as a clear-cut number one. So I think both guys help a lot right away. And I think Chet's, I've said this numerous occasions, I think Chet's more NBA ready than people act like. I think he's more ready to help a team legitimately win games than people realize. So it's not even being sour on Jabari or anything. I think Chet's more ready to help a team than people think, because he'll knock down threes. He shot the three ball well all year. He'll make the right play. He doesn't really force things. Will make the right pass. Isn't going to be as dynamic offensively, but I think he'll be pretty dynamic defensively.
Mm-hmm. Someone asked, let me see if I can find it real quick. Oh, well, you can answer this while I'm looking for this other question. What team do you think would be a good fit for Drew Timme, Corey?
Gonzaga next year?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be a very good NBA player, so I would say no team. But he'll have a 12 to 15 year career overseas, and it'll be very good.
He should just go back to college one more year. Like, he's not. I don't think he's going to get drafted. I think he might get drafted late second round, but the dude came back his junior year at Gonzaga and didn't improve on either of the things that he needed to improve on to make himself a more legitimate NBA prospect. The two things he needed to improve on: he needed to improve his foot speed defensively. He didn't do that. He needed to improve just overall defensively. He didn't do that. And he needed to improve his three-point shot, and he didn't do that. So, I don't know what he did last offseason, if he worked on those things, and the work just for whatever reason didn't translate to the court, but I saw no discernible improvement in either of those areas for him, and, he went back to college for his junior year after having a monster tournament run last year, which might have boosted his stock a little bit higher than it should have been, so I don't see why he goes back. Maybe he wants to move on, play professionally. I understand why, I guess, but I just don't think his stock is any higher than it was last year, and it was low enough last year for him to go back to school. So,
Max, the Lakers fans asked, what is Jabari Smith's max ceiling in the NBA, do you think?
I don't know. I just read a comment that's just ridiculously dumb.
I'll answer then if you're focused on that.
Yeah, well, let me just answer this. Okay, this comment: Chet played weak competition and is overrated. I'll let you answer that. Okay, but Chet played weak competition and is overrated. Who is our starting freaking backcourt? Damian Lillard played at Weber State. That's what morons said about Damian Lillard when we drafted him. Oh, this is a terrible pick. He played at Weber State. He didn't play against anybody. Now we're talking about him as potentially being the best Blazer ever. Anthony Simons came out of high school. Okay? Look at him now. I don't care about who they played before they came into the league. If they play, they can play. If you're focusing on his competition, then you need to focus elsewhere because, dude, our top 2 perimeter players played against weaker competition than Chet did last year. Anyway, go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's silly, and also the Gonzaga program plays anyone, right? They'll take any game anywhere. So they played a ton of non-conference games, and in the tournament they played non-conference Power 5 conference teams.
That narrative is so frustrating to me.
Yeah. And also, the WCC did have the same amount of tournament teams as the Pac-12, so so it's ridiculous. But all right, to me, if you're talking about max ceilings, I think Jabari has a fringe top 10, Jason Tatum-esque ceiling if all things go well for him, if he improves on his weaknesses. So that would be my kind of comparison, that level player, just right around the top 10.
The thing is, though, he's further away from it than Jason Tatum was entering the league, in my opinion. Because Jason Tatum was a far better ball handler in college than Jabari Smith was. That was the thing, is Jason Tatum could handle the ball from day one. Jabari Smith, struggles creating off the dribble, struggles getting to the rim, struggles finishing on dribble drives. So that's the thing. That's where his upside lies. If he can figure out how to do that, then he's a guy who approaches that ceiling and is that type of player, absolutely. But that's the thing is players can have super high ceilings but be further away compared to players that enter the league and are close to their ceilings. Agbaji is closer to his ceiling entering the league than Jabari Smith is, of course. He is older, but so that's the thing with Jabari, is just, can he figure out how to become a dynamic guy off the dribble with the ball in his hands, making plays for others? Because if he can do that, then his jump shooting, if you overplay him on the perimeter, if you run out hard at his jump shot, he's going to make you pay by doing things off the dribble at a very high level. That's his ceiling. So that's what it comes down to for him. It's more clear-cut and dry what he needs to do to reach his ceiling than it is for Chet or Banchero, in my opinion. He just has to figure out how to become that type of player off the dribble.
Yeah, the two things that I always come back to on that is, one, his shooting was elite even despite not being able to drive, which is crazy. And then also, I have a hard time thinking of a team that had worse spacing on it than Auburn did. So it's not like he had shooters on the perimeter, his wings were all terrible. So how if he drives, he's got the defense collapsed, and he's going to kick out to 25% 3-point shooters,
Yeah, but I feel like you can kind of see it. He's a little stiff on the perimeter at times, a little loose with his dribble at times, not really shifty. I want to see him run more pick and rolls, because that's the thing, is if he can become a guy that can run a pick and roll in the league at his size with his ability to shoot off the dribble, if you go under, he'll just pull off that and make you pay. Then that's a lethal player. The spacing was bad. So that's the thing with Chet too. Gonzaga's spacing was better, but the college spacing in general isn't as good as it is in the NBA. So it's with these players, it's if they didn't have a help defender right in front of them, are they getting to the rim and finishing? I just feel like a lot of times if Jabari had a set defender in front of him, he wasn't going to beat him off the dribble. And there's numerous times where I saw him kind of rip through, and it almost seemed like he tried, and then he would turn his back and then turn around and shoot a fadeaway mid-range, which he can knock down. It's just definitely lots of room for growth there, and that's why I'd be encouraged by him playing under Chauncey, because I feel like Chauncey could develop that. But that's really what is going to decide if he's just a 3 3-and-D guy who does both at an elite level and maybe does a little bit more, or if he's like a true borderline or even a superstar type of player.
Yeah. Well, one other thing to consider is he's only 18, played his whole freshman year as an 18-year-old, and so still a lot of time to improve those things.
Yeah. Do you have any concerns or negatives for Jabari?
Well, like I said, I think he does need to improve some of his help defense, that kind of stuff, whether that be rim protection or just being in the right spots. But it's a little weird watching teams that have, I mean, they had a lot of over-aggressive perimeter defenders. So, like, it's hard to tell if they have their system set up to combat that, or if they are out of position sometimes because they don't expect the wing to be over aggressive in certain situations, so they're kind of caught off guard by that. I think that is tough for me to judge whether that's him needing to improve that or just show something different on that end. He definitely needs to be better off the ball and as a rim protector. And then on offense, obviously, getting to the rim. The handles need to be cleaned up, like you mentioned, and then also just being a little more efficient from mid-range, whether that's taking less bad shots, which I think on the right situation like Portland he wouldn't need to, or just finding a way to get to the free throw line in those, or dribbling in more instead of pulling up. So those are all things that I definitely think he can improve on. But they're all things that I think are improvable things if you have that drive to be elite. So not being able to have a conversation with him, it's impossible to know, like, if he has that Kobe mindset or whatever. But, like, if he did, I think he could easily fix all the things that I see as weaknesses in his game.
Somebody said, Eric, keep going, you're convincing him. Convincing me of what? I already said Jabari would take me number one. And honestly, if Eric likes a guy, it doesn't make me like them more. If anything, it might make me nitpick them a little bit more. So yeah, Eric liking a player has never swayed my opinion for the better. My opinions are pretty independent. There's things, if I haven't paid much attention to a player and Eric has, obviously he knows things that I don't on that player, and, I'll open ears on that sort of stuff, but we have agreed to disagree on numerous prospects throughout the years. So yeah, I am not turning my back on Chet. I'm not, he's not convincing me that, I don't know, like, that's the thing.
Friends, I don't care.
Our opinions don't even differentiate that much. I'm just a little bit lower on Jabari, so it's like a little bit lower, but I still have him number one.
Yeah, I just think, like,
it's not clear cut and dry for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only difference. That's it.
In my opinion, people are going to point to the shooting percentages inside the 3-point line. And to me, when I watch him and see how tough of shots he gets, how he doesn't have any spacing, how the entire defense is just packed in the paint so he can't even drive, even if he was good at that. I don't think like Jaden Ivey with that kind of spacing isn't really even getting to the basket very often in that offense. So I look at what I see, and that's an ability, much like LaMarcus, to get his shot up over any kind of defender. And whether that goes in or not you've got to be consistent with it. But right now, as a projection to see like what type of player he is, I look at the form and the way he gets his shots. And to me, they're horrible shots sometimes, but if you can consistently hit those, like Kevin Durant, for example, shoots terrible shots sometimes, but like he's amazing at it. So like if you can ever get even close to that level of a shooter where you can, from anywhere on the floor around the 3-point line or in, get a shot off over any defense, like to me that's a skill that very few people I could point to and say have that. Like I said, Chet has the ability to possibly get there, I just haven't seen enough of him pulling up off the dribble to say for sure. But I definitely think that's a possibility that he could be that same type of scorer as well. I just think that combined with his ability to shoot the three, that's going to be a translatable skill with how beautiful his jump shot is. So like I just think those rarely flame out in the NBA, like players like that have that kind of skill set. They're usually trend towards being all-star level players versus busts in the NBA. So that's why I just lean towards Jabari a little more than the unknown of Chet.
Yeah. I mean, I am slightly worried that maybe he just, like, dude's definitely a good shooter. There's always the chance with one-year players that they maybe overachieved for, 35 games or however many games they played. That's always... But, like, that's the thing is that can be the case with any one-year player. I'd rather see a dude shoot 42% than 32%, obviously. But he shot some deep ones, too, and they looked comfortable for him. He had no problem shooting them off the dribble. His catch and shoot, I think on, 23 shots? I think he... saw a stat that said he shot 65% on 23 open catch and shoot shots. So that's an insane percentage. I don't expect that to be quite that high in the NBA. If it is, then you're going to have a tough time sending the attention that you need to Dame. But, that's always something where I'm never 100% sold on a prospect's shooting ability if they only played 1 year in college.
Yeah, guys, I can't do anything about the static. I'm sorry, my mic is not working.
Yep, I'm going to try and get Eric a new mic at some point in the next day or two. The problem is he lives very far away. So, what'd you say? Did you switch your mic? It's not anything to do with moving the mic, Double E. Trust me. Eric's tried everything. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know what to do about it. That's what sucks is we have a post-game show tomorrow night. I'm gonna try and get it to you tomorrow, but... Or if you have a Best Buy by you. They sell them at Best Buy. What'd you say?
I do have a Best Buy near me.
Yeah, okay. We'll figure it out. Try to figure it out by tomorrow for sure. Madden Mobile says I'll deliver the mic for him. Yeah, we'll figure it out. But anyway.
Sorry, bro.
It's not your fault. Anything else you want to say for this post-game show? Because we're probably going to wrap it up.
Chiefin asked, does your opinion on Cronin change if they get a top 3 pick?
Not at all. Why would it change if he got lucky?
Yeah. Our pick has no bearing on the trades we made. I've said that. I've been consistent with that the whole time, right? Like, we could have tanked and had a top 3 pick in that scenario, whether we traded CJ and Norm and Rocco for nothing, even if we wanted to, right? Mm-hmm. So like, we could have traded them for better stuff and still gotten a top 3 pick. So it has no bearing, and it's him lucking out into doing it, and I applaud him for getting to a situation where our pick was as bad as possible, because, I mean, quite frankly, outside of the 4-game winning streak, which he still tried to make this team as bad as possible, but outside of that, like, I don't think there's anything Cronin could have done to make this team worse than it was post All-Star break. So I'm pretty sure that we did the best we could, and that we put ourselves in a great position. So I'll applaud him for that. But that still doesn't mean he made good trades. He made crappy trades, and we're still sitting here with 2 games left in the season, not even knowing if we made a good trade with CJ or not, because we might or might not get the 12th pick. Like, that's just stupid.
Yep.
And if Cronin was competent at all, we'd be sitting here right now being like, oh, we're good because as long as the Lakers pick doesn't move up into the top 4, we'll get it at 8, right?
Mhm.
and if not, then we'll get 12 because the Pelicans wouldn't have made the playoffs, right? So for him to not kind of think that possibility out in the trade.
Yeah, or he thought of that possibility and he got out negotiated, because that's always a possibility with that.
Well, because the rumor was he had the option of this sort of scenario or 2 future lottery protected firsts. But he didn't even get that as the protections if we didn't get this pick, so that makes no sense. And then, yeah, like at the time, I guarantee you it wasn't that, Tori. I guarantee you it was, oh, the Lakers are going to make the playoffs. Like, duh. Like, why would we even think of that? Like, the Lakers are going to make it. So he wasn't even worried about that scenario, right? And that's how you get burned when you don't think of all the scenarios, because there should have been no scenario where the Pelicans get a pick 5 through 14 through either one of their situations and we don't get any pick, and that's might happen.
I think it could have. I still think it could have been a situation where negotiations with the Pelicans, possibly giving him the 8th overall pick, 9th overall pick, or whatever, they said, okay, we'll give you the chance at this pick if we don't make the playoffs, but if it's top 4, we make the playoffs, we're only giving you a 2025 Milwaukee first. And I feel like he could have been like, okay, I'll take that chance.
We're so freaking desperate for CJ, though, man. It's ridiculous.
No, I know. I just, like, it's not any better. It's not any better. It could have just been a situation where he poorly negotiated. It's like he might have thought of it and just didn't execute the negotiations as well as he should have, compared to just overseeing it, which both were bad. So, yeah. Hopefully it works out, but yeah, it's my opinion isn't going to be swayed based on the lottery. Anyway. XC depth, that'll be a good off-season question, man. I'll answer it now, but it could change. Most underrated prospect, I'm not sure right now. I haven't really done enough research on guys in the second round. You know, I've watched some of them play, but maybe David Roddy at this point, but I go back and forth on him. I just feel like if he could lose weight and get to, like, instead of being 255, if he was, like, 225, I feel like he could be a hell of a player, and he's a second-round guy, so maybe I'll go with him right now. And then most overrated player, I would probably go with... There's nobody I think that is really overrated. Maybe Kendall Brown, but he's slipped. That's who I would have said earlier in the year. Honestly, at this point, if you're talking like first round, who I think is most overrated, it might be Keegan Murray, but I don't have him much lower than I already have him, so.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I think underrated Koloko if he doesn't go in the mid-teens.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, if he, I just feel like he is gonna be in like the round 20. Like I feel like there's no way all the mock drafts are right.
Jovic, if he goes past the lottery, I think is going to be a good pickup for other people. And then yeah, I'm with you on overrated. I put Kendall Brown in that situation. I still see mocks with Max Christie like being a mid first 20th pick. I think that's overrated. Let's see. I feel like Johnny Davis is being a little underrated if he falls to 10.
Yeah.
But I also don't necessarily agree that he should go over anyone ahead of him, but I think that's a steal for someone if they get him at 10 or 11.
Yeah, I feel like I might go the other way on him. I feel like he could be a steal, or I feel like he could be a bust.
Yeah.
I am. It could go either way with him, so I don't know if that means I think he's overrated or underrated. I think if Mathurin measures in at if he's like 6'4", which he looks like he might be 6'4", like I think his height is a lie. If he's 6'4" and remains top 10, I think that's overrated. I just don't like I like his game at the 3 better than I like it at the 2. Somebody I'm gonna have to watch, which I'll be reacting to player like prospect highlights for channel members this offseason. I'll talk more about it in my off-season content video, but so I'm waiting to watch footage on this guy until I make a video about it. But Usman, is that how you say his name? Usman Jang? Do you know how to say his name?
Yeah.
I know you might not be the person to ask, but right. I'm just kidding.
I think it's Usman.
Usman? Yeah, that probably makes sense. But I've seen him being mocked in the teens lately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's really come on for, I think it's the New Zealand Breakers.
Yeah. So I'll have to look at him and see what I think of him. I haven't really watched any of him. Same with Kamagate. I've seen like a couple clips of him, and just the way he moves is intriguing. Looks pretty agile, decently quick. I've only seen like 3-4 clips on him, but he's somebody that I'll need to watch footage on as well, because I feel like he could be intriguing. I just haven't I haven't looked at any of the international prospects, and I feel like there's a couple that might be sleepers.
Mm-hmm.
Because there usually is every year, so. Like Procida, Besson, guys like that. Orlando Robinson, if he's late second, is underrated for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Anything else for the stream, Eric, before we wrap it up?
No. I hope everyone has a good night, and we'll talk to you guys after the game tomorrow.
Yep, we'll have a stream for tomorrow. I'll either drive Eric this mic or, sort something out so the mic can be better for you guys. It's nobody's fault. It's just, the mic probably, probably just quit. Old mics, that's how they get. So we'll have another stream tomorrow, another post-game show, and then on Sunday we'll have 2 streams. We'll have Blazers Uprise Live at 3:30 p.m., and that'll be the last episode at 3:30 p.m. Because in the off-season, we're switching to 9:30 p.m. Blazers Uprise Live is a channel that we do streams on twice a week. And that's where we're going to be streaming pretty much exclusively over the off-season, outside of a couple different streams that we'll have here on the main channel. So go subscribe to that. Link at the top of the description box below. So we'll have Blazers Uprise Live 3:30 on Sunday, and then we'll have our final post-game show of the year Sunday evening after the Blazers take on the Jazz. Hopefully you're able to make it out for that one. That'll be the last post-game show with these graphics.
The funeral of this season.
What'd you say?
The funeral of the season.
Yep. It's going to be a little weird doing it after not a playoff game, knowing that it's going to be the final stream. But, come hang out with us for the final post-game show of the year on Sunday. Hopefully we're able to catch you then. With that being said, that's a wrap for this post-game Oh, wait, no, I didn't think of Dono. Dude, I need to remember to thank Donos, because I just haven't gotten as many. I forget to thank them now. Shout out XC Depp. We're going to end things off with XC Depp. $10 dono. He says, Eric B. Microphone Fund. Appreciate you, XC Depp. Sorry I almost forgot to read your dono. I'm just a little bit rusty. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for the dono. Yeah, we'll sort something out. With that, that's a wrap for this post-game show. We'll catch you tomorrow. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.